Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's talk about addiction. It's a topic that we should talk about more on this channel. I've been sober for 20 years. February 13th, 2000. So 21 years, actually. I went sober because I had a liver problem. I didn't have an intervention. I didn't hit what I thought was rock bottom. I felt like a functioning alcoholic. I was able to get myself off drugs. Alcohol was a different story. I quit doing crack. I used to rob motherfuckers for crack. I used to rob restaurants and businesses, breaking in entries and shit like that for crack money. Quit crack all in one day. Decided I was never going to touch it again, and I didn't. Never did any kind of NA. Never relapsed. And I did crack every single day, robbed people for it every single week. Did that for years. Just quit one day. Never went back. I've always had a strong willpower, but alcohol was a different story. Alcohol for me didn't register in my mind as an addiction, even though it was. I mean, I was drinking a case of beer a day, followed by a gallon jug of wine. I did that every single day, 7 days a week for at least 12 years. Complete drunk. I could get through work, but the second work was over, I was going to the beer store. Beer was always my thing. I was never a big hard liquor drinker. But I drank myself into a liver problem, got really sick, and almost died. Doctors told me, "Party's over, kid." That was his exact quote. February 13th, 2000. Never took another drink. I stopped cold turkey. It was hard. It wasn't easy. One of the ways that helped me to get through addiction wasn't just a daily discipline lifestyle of trying to live healthily, because that's the physical aspect to it, but there's a mental component to addiction that I needed to understand in order to be able to fight the battle. We need to be able to understand why we're fighting in order to fight. I had to understand why I was going through the process of addiction. Why was I an addictive person? Why did I have addictive personality types? Why was I easily swayed with substances? Why did I chase vice? Constantly chasing vice. It ruled my life. That was all I wanted, was a party. What was that really about? In my mind, it just felt like I liked to party. I'm just a party kind of guy. A good time guy. I like to have fun. Love parties. Love socializing. Love just relaxing and hanging out with my friends and just getting buzzed. Love it. But what's that really about? What was driving me to every day? It wasn't just a weekend thing. It wasn't just, oh, let's go out with the guys and have a drink after work on Friday. Oh no. This was all the time, and I had to understand why. And for me, it was multifaceted. I was self-medicating for multiple reasons. To help me get through the day because of my anxiety and depression. That was the one, those are two reasons right there, but I was using it as medication to get myself through anxiety and depression. I had horrible anxiety, social anxiety. Being around other people make me horribly anxious, panic attack mode almost. Going through my whole day could be just one long anxiety attack. And finally, I can drink a couple beers and relax and just be myself. The real me comes out, and I no longer feel nervous or edgy or scared or anxious. My depression would chase me all day. Fucked up shit from the past. Unresolved issues, stuff that went all the way back to my childhood. Deep-seated psychological stuff that I might not have necessarily been able to track, but it was still going on. Just like your heart beats and you don't really pay attention to it. Your blood pumps, you don't really pay attention to it. You're not doing it consciously, it's just happening. Even when you're sleeping, even when you're talking on the phone or not even paying attention, that shit's still working, your body's still doing its thing. And we could have psychological issues that are the same way. just operating away like a little machine. The gears are little turning all day long. Little psychological issues torturing you. You don't even know you're doing it. This is how I was. My depression chased me. I could be a real dark, weak, negative person. You get me sober too long. It would help me with my inhibitions, help me with talking to women, help me with making friends. It would help me with just escaping. I was chasing an escape. That was my reason for vice, was just to stop thinking. Let me just check out for a minute. Let me just check out permanently. I used to love doing PCP. That was my favorite drug. I loved it. I loved PCP. I loved how I felt on it. You can get high one hit, you'd be high for 4 hours, 5 hours, wasted, not even be able to see straight, walk, nothing. You're useless. I loved that shit. That euphoric feeling, just being completely checked out. It's like being off the grid in your own body. I told myself one time as I was high off PCP, I want to feel like this every day for the rest of my life. I had a lot of weaknesses and I was just trying to compensate for them, medicate in order to compensate for my weakness. Most all addiction, this has been studied, it's a fact, that most all people who go through addiction of any kind are doing it because of psychological torment, unresolved trauma, pain, mental pain. I used to take that walk to the liquor store just to ease the pain. It's important to understand why we fall into addictive patterns in order to be able to fight them. So when you can identify your areas of weakness, which areas are you compensating for? Which pain, which experience are you still trying to heal from? What are you running from? That's the reason why you're in the bar. That's the reason why you drink every single night. It's not just that you're the life of the party like I thought I was. Nobody parties 7 days a week. If you find yourself engaged in any kind of chasing of vice, chasing of escapism through vice, then most likely you have an addiction, and that addiction stems from psychological trauma that is unresolved. Anytime that I recognize a weakness, self-defeating behavior that's holding me back from my own success, from the things that I want, I can sit and wish for, please Lord, give me this, give me that, and then go and have self-defeating behavior, ensuring that I never get what I'm wishing for. Why do that? I've done that for years, decades. I'm sick of being my own worst enemy. Anytime I recognize a weakness, it's my duty to get on top of it. I had to stop drinking completely, 100%. Haven't had a single sip of alcohol since February 13th, 2000. If you can handle your booze, drink once in a while. Once in a while means once or twice a week, and even when that is your time to drink, you have one drink. One drink once or twice a week. That's normal. If you're having a drink every day at lunch, you're an alcoholic. If you're having a drink every day after work, you're an alcoholic. If you're chasing substance or vice, I don't care what it is. It could be jacking off too much. There's all kinds of vice, all kinds of form of escapism. You got to ask yourself why you're doing it. Are you trying to validate yourself? Are you looking where you never validated as a kid? It's another common reason why. Maybe you're chasing validation, and that euphoric feeling that we get from taking drugs or alcohol puts us into the emotional state of mind. What is that? The limbic system or whatever, and it kind of fulfills this validation need temporarily. But it's hollow, it's shallow. You never get to the root cause of that hurt individual that's inside of you screaming out. All you're doing is numbing it, quieting it, making sure that it goes on forever. You're never going to stop this cycle until you stop the behavior. Face your fears and fight them. On the other side of that fight, on the other side of that struggle, that pain, the pain of sobriety, on the other side of that is your greatness, is who you really are. That person that's able to make it through the day without chasing vice, without escaping, without finding shallow, hollow forms of validation. That person is waiting for you. You know, another thing that both drugs and alcohol does for us chemically within our brain is simulates the chemical reaction that we get when we're in love. So when you're in love, a chemical reaction happens inside of your head. When you take drugs and alcohol and you're getting fucked up, that same sort of chemical reaction happens inside of your head, and you can get a simulated sensation of love. This is where some of the euphoria of getting high comes from, and we can be addicted to that. So it's not just a chemical addiction that we're going through with substance abuse. It can also be an emotional addiction, and it's good to recognize why we get high, why we're escaping. Because if you realize that maybe it is that I'm just chasing love. Wow, is that why I get high all the time? It's because I need more love. Learn self-love. It will help you combat your addiction. It's all just food for thought. I'm all about strength, positivity, motivation. Thanks for watching.